All right, hey, y'all. Welcome back to Andrea Speaks TV. I'm your host, Andrea, back to bring you news and commentary you can use. Listen, I hope you're doing well. I hope your family is doing well. And as always, I want to say thank you so much for continuing to support the channel. Listen, y'all, it wouldn't be right if I didn't do a video reacting to what has become to be known as the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl, okay? What has become to be known as the Montgomery, Alabama Riverfront Brawl. Okay, you all put in the comments, do you know what I'm talking about when I talk about the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl? Now, this story, it happened some days ago, and instead of just doing a video right away, commenting, I said, the video was shocking, first of all. I'm not going to share it, but, if you wish, you can do your research and go and look and, see exactly what happened. But I said, you know what? Instead of just coming out doing a video, let me wait until more information comes out so, we can, or I can get a better feel of what happened, what's going on, and what possibly may be to come, okay? So I have some information here, some news source, and I just want to read. So at the time of this video, the time I'm recording the video, they've actually started charging more and more people. So just let me read and then I'll give you some of my thoughts. But according to my news source, a fourth person has been charged in connection with a brawl Saturday. Okay, so this was actually over a week ago. A fourth person has been charged in connection with a brawl Saturday at a riverfront dock in Montgomery, Alabama, police said this past Thursday. One person by the name of Mary Todd, who the article says is 21, okay, has been charged with third-degree assault and was being held Thursday in Montgomery's municipal jail. That's according to the Montgomery police, okay? The other three charged, the article says, were Richard Roberts, 48, who faces 2 counts of third-degree assault, and Alan Todd, 23, and Zachary Shipman, 25, who face a count each of third-degree assault, the article says, okay? Montgomery Police Chief Daryl Albert has said they were taken into custody earlier this week. The fight, okay, listen to this, y'all, okay? The article is alleging that the fight between those charged, identified by authorities as white, and a black co-captain of a river boat stemmed from a dispute over a dockside parking spot, okay? That's what authorities are saying. The article says it quickly escalated into a widespread brawl in which, according to one witness, a racial slur was used, okay? The incident, which was caught on video, okay, again, if you, I'm not sharing it here because of how this is set up, I'm not able to share video because of how I'm recording. But if you wish to, see the video, exactly what happened, you can, do that on your own. But the article says the incident, which was caught on video and has captured national attention, okay, this is a story that a lot of people have been talking about, largely broke down, the article says, along racial lines in a city with both a fraught history of racial violence. Okay, now, I'm going to have you do your research on this. You can go back and see the significance of Montgomery, Alabama, which is located in the South. Okay, I'm right. Alabama is right next to my state, which is Georgia. You can do your research and see the history in regards to race and race relations of Montgomery, Alabama, as well as the significance of Montgomery, Alabama during the civil rights movement. Okay, as a matter of fact, the article, and let me read this sentence again. The article says the incident, which was caught on video and has captured national attention, largely broke down along racial lines in a city with both a fraught history of racial violence and a proud place, the article says, in the civil rights movement. Okay, you can do your research. Now, listen to this, y'all. Okay, here's, this is alleged in a sworn statement to police. Someone was quoted as saying, and I quote, "You could hear men yelling." Now, I'm not going to say the words, y'all, but y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? The article is alleging in a sworn statement to police, someone was quoted as saying, and I quote, you could hear men yelling, F that N-word. Say what now? That's what someone said in a sworn statement to the police. Listen to this, y'all. Okay, so allegedly someone or the men were heard yelling that, okay? As the black co-captain, the article says, okay, as the black co-captain tried to move a pontoon boat occupying the riverboat's docking location, the mother of a victim in the altercation alleged in a sworn statement to police. Okay, however, listen to this, y'all. Okay, this is why I say I want to wait and see what other information ends up coming out. Okay, listen to what they're saying. However, police still believe the brawl was not racially motivated, and the co-captain said as much when interviewed by authorities a second time. Okay, here's a quote by someone with the name Albert, who said, and I quote, "We believe what he is saying, and what he is saying is that he does not believe it was racially motivated whatsoever." Okay, this is what they're saying, that even the black co-captain is saying. Now, I'm not here to say if that was right or wrong, but, you know, I don't know exactly. Now, they're saying that they were, evidently, allegedly, there was an argument about maybe a parking spot of a certain type of boat. But whatever words were exchanged prior to that, leading up to that, during that, I don't know if that has been made to the public, but this article is alleging, okay, and I'm just reporting the information, that the police, it says, still believe the brawl was not racially motivated, and the co-captain, okay, who they're saying is a black man, and you can also see this person in the video. The police are saying that the co-captain said as much when interviewed by authorities a second time. This person was quoted as saying, "We believe what he is saying, and what he is saying is that he does not believe it was racially motivated whatsoever." Okay. The quote continues by saying, "If more evidence comes forward, if there's more proof that this leaned toward more of a hate crime, we will amend these charges, or we will amend those charges and charge appropriately then." Okay. The article also says that CNN attempted to reach the 4 people charged, or their legal representation for comment weren't immediately successful. The 4 are scheduled to be arraigned on September 1st. Okay. The victims in the assault, the article says, were identified as Damian Pickett, the co-captain, and a 16-year-old white boy who the article says had transported Pickett to the dock in a small boat. Okay. The witness also alleged in her sworn statement that Roberts punched her son, the 16-year-old, in the chest as he attempted to, and I quote, "pull people off of the co-captain, who video shows was knocked to the ground and struck by a group of several white people." Okay. She also alleged another man in the group said he was, and I quote, getting his, starts with a G, y'all. Think about 2A, okay? I don't want to say that word because you know how this platform, may be with certain words, okay? So someone was quoted as saying they were going to get their protection, we'll just say, at which point he was tackled by an employee of the river boat, okay? And the river boat, the article says, was called the Harriet II, okay? CNN, the article that I'm referring to, is saying that they are not identifying the mother or the victim because he is a minor, okay? There was also a man seen wielding a chair, okay, in social media during the brawl. And that person, at the time of this article, was being asked to contact police. Now, I believe also they have since located that person. I even saw, and maybe you have seen this as well, some people were making jokes where they were having like folding chairs and pictures. Y'all know how they come out with the memes and the jokes and everything. Some people had folding chair necklaces, all kind of things. To, I guess maybe to understand it, you would have to see the video if you wished. But there was a man in the video, seen in the video. He had a folding chair in his hand, and he was just, going pretty much whacking some of the people upside their head. Really could have, seriously hurt them. But, I'm not here to make any accusations or anything like that. But, just, whatever his motivation was to do that, people could, any of them could have gotten seriously harmed out there. I I was thinking as I saw it, I saw people talking about it, and I, at the time I didn't know exactly what had happened, and then I went and saw it, and I was like, wow, thankfully no one lost their life out there. It wasn't until just now that I read that someone allegedly said they were going to get their protection, but it was just a fist fight brawl, with the exception of someone going to get a chair for whatever reason they chose to do that. But it literally, I don't know if I've ever, I've lived in the South, grown up in the South all of my life. And of course I've heard of stories, during the times of the civil rights movement and things like that. But, just to see it, I'm going to be honest, just to see that, and see those images in the video, it almost looked like something from a time back then. They're saying in the article that right now, according to those they spoke with, they're saying they don't believe for whatever reason it was racially motivated. People like you and I, we may take what we saw or even what we read and say, okay, it could possibly have been that. But the part that I want to react on, some people may have been shocked to see it. But my statement is, what do you expect? And maybe it's because I understand, I'm not from Alabama. I'm not from Montgomery, Alabama, but I am aware of, what people in the area went through and still go through in the past and present, whether it was during the time of the civil rights or even now. I'm not going to sit here and act like, here in 2023, that Black people don't feel or actually experience, don't feel like or either actually experience still to this day, different situations where they feel like, they've been put in a position where they were either targeted because of their race, or they feel like some way they were offended regarding their race. Okay, there are people out there, believe it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, that still to this day are using racial slurs, using the N-word. Now, I'm not saying, I'm not saying that by me saying this, I'm not saying that, I encourage violence or anything like that. I'm not here to say that. You're not going to hear me say that. But what I do want to say is, what do you expect? Just going from, and there were many people out there in the video. If you look in the video, there were many people out there. I don't know if there was an event going on, but there were people who were just out there, maybe families, men, women, maybe some children were there as well. And the images, that's why I said the images in the video, you see, all of these people who appear to be white people, fighting this one, a group of white men fighting this one Black man. He's knocked to the ground. It's just something about the images and the video just didn't sit well with me at all. I don't know how you felt about it. Surely you're entitled to your own opinion. There was even a young man who, we later learned he was a young Black man who, if you watch the video from a different angle, he was actually on another boat. He jumped into the water and actually swam to help the Black man in what appeared, for him to be defending himself. And then that's when, other people jumped in as well to help him. And before you know it, it's pretty much like it said, it's an all-out brawl. So I'm thankful that, no one lost their life. But again, I want to say, what do you expect? Do you expect, do you expect for people to stand around, people that were there? Do you expect them, to stand around and just watch a Black man get beaten by a group of white men? I want to say that's unrealistic in 2023. I don't know what you expected, but, I don't expect people to just stand around and do nothing and to let, this man, this Black man who, based on the information from the article, was the co-captain. I don't expect them to stand around and watch this man get beaten. What if people had not done anything and the outcome would have been differently? What would people have been saying then? Oh, I can't believe I can't believe Black people. What would the narrative have been? I can't believe Black people just stood around and, you know, let this happen to this man. What would the narrative have been? So, you know, that's pretty much my reaction. You know, I also want to ask the question, you know, there have been other situations and incidents that have happened in the past where, you know, other groups of people have gotten hate crime bills, things like that. But for some reason, it always seems like the Black community gets overlooked when it comes to things like that. What has the White House said about that situation, this particular situation? Has the president issued a statement? Is there anyone demanding? They spoke about a hate crime, and, you know, allegedly at the time of this report, they're going to do an investigation. But do you think this would fit a hate crime? You let me know, okay? Also, the article says that calling Montgomery, and I quote, the birthplace of civil rights, this is according to the article, Albert told CNN. This person also went on to say, we know how contentious this was back in the 60s, the 50s, the 70s. Okay, I also talked about that as well. Just, you know, that time period, what people went through, and like I even say, could possibly still be going through to this day, okay? This person was quoted, Albert was quoted as saying, and I quote, we don't want to go back to that, and we're not going to go back to that. We're going to make sure we're going to get it right the first time. This is what they're saying now. So it's going to be a slow and methodical process to ensure justice for all, okay? In all, the article says 13 people were detained and questioned for several hours Saturday before being released, the chief said Tuesday, okay? The chief also was quoted as saying, and I quote, I don't think we're near finished. We have a lot more work to do on this, okay? They also, Albert was also quoted as saying, and I quote, we have hundreds of videos and witness statements at this time. And I would say at this point, it is highly likely that more arrests and more individuals will face charges, okay? And then the article also says, here's what else we know about what unfolded at the Riverfront dock Saturday and the ongoing investigation. As I shared, the fight stemmed allegedly from dispute over a docking spot. It all began around 7 p.m. Saturday, the article says, when the Harriet II riverboat carrying 227 passengers returned to the waterfront and tried to dock in its designated and reserved spot, but found the private boat docked in its space, the chief said. The Harriet and its passengers waited for around 45 minutes as the captain tried to reach the operators of the boat using the PA system, and I quote, they were only responded to with obscene gestures, curse words, and taunting. Okay, that's what Albert said. Okay, Pickett, the co-captain, the Black man who we see in the video, was then picked up from the riverboat by another vessel and brought to the dock to try to have a conversation with the boat owners, and get them to move. Okay, this is according to Albert. Okay, there, the boat owners confronted the captain in what is being described, and I quote, as a very hostile manner. Okay, so are y'all following the story? We didn't necessarily get the report in the beginning. We saw the video. We saw what was going on. Now, okay, and this is also why I wanted to wait to report on this story, because I said, okay, like what really, like what happened to cause all of this, right? So let's go back, y'all. Okay, around 7 p.m. last Saturday, the Harriet II riverboat, which was carrying 227 passengers, returned to the waterfront and tried to dock in its designated reserved spot, okay? So again, this particular boat carrying 227 passengers had its own spot that it was trying to dock, but instead there was a private boat docked in its space, okay? The Harriet and its passengers waited for around 45 minutes, y'all, as the captain tried to reach the operators of the boat using the PA system, and I quote, they were only responded to, according to the article, with obscene gestures, curse words, and taunting. Okay, so y'all get a picture of what's going on. Okay, the white men who were in this private boat, they were allegedly responding to the captain, those on board, with what the article alleges is obscene gestures, curse words, and taunting. Pickett, the Black man, the co-captain, according to the article, was then picked up from the riverboat by another vessel and brought to the dock to try to have a conversation with the boat owners and to get them to move. Okay, there the boat owners confronted the captain in a, what I quote, I'm sorry, and I quote, very hostile manner, the chief said. The chief also said the co-captain was doing his job. Okay, I heard people say that he was doing his job. The chief also says, and I quote, he was simply trying to move the boat in just enough to where the cruise ship could park safely in its identified location. Okay, however, it quickly escalated. Okay, the chief is saying that Pickett, the co-captain, was attacked. The black man we see in the video was, and I quote, attacked by several members of the private boat. The co-captain received treatment at a local hospital later that night. Okay, several crew members of the Harriet II then came to Pickett's defense, according to the chief. Okay, police were called. They were saying that the Harriet's captain first called police to report a disturbance at 7 p.m. Then police received another call at 7:15. Okay, so right away, my question is, if if the boat was supposed to be, if the boat had a designated spot, then why were those other people parked there in their private spot? Did they not know they were not supposed to park there? Like, what is that all about? Okay. The fight was described as brought on by, and I quote, brought on by reckless individuals who did not use good judgment and caused an event that certainly was avoidable. That's according to Reed. Reed said during Tuesday's news conference. Let's see. That said, and I quote, that said, the police department reacted very swiftly and very intentionally to address the matter, as did other citizens in the community. Now, in the video, if you look at the video, the parts that I saw, you see the police officer, when they got there, it looked to me more so like they were trying to go after the, at the point where I saw it, they were trying to go after the gentleman who had the folding chair, who was trying to, who was hitting some of the people there. I don't know necessarily if they were going at some of the other people that were there. But you can, if you want to look at that, you can check that out as well. But, in that particular incident, it also looked like, and I don't want to just, it looked like allegedly, maybe they were like, I don't know if they pepper sprayed. I don't know what was going on, but it looked like they were trying to assess what was going on, who was doing what. And by, they, I mean the police when they first got there. They are looking at, it says investigators are looking into hate crime charges. The police chief said local investigators are working with the FBI to examine whether to file hate crime charges in this case. Now, based on what they're saying, y'all, if they're saying that the co-captain allegedly is saying he doesn't believe it was racially motivated, I wonder why he said that, y'all. Why do y'all think he said that? Does he really believe that? Was he pressured to say that? What is that really about? Does he feel that there could be some possible retaliation? Just based on what they're saying, y'all, why do you think he allegedly is saying this? Based on that, I don't want to, what can I say, y'all? Don't get your hopes up too high. I know that sounds crazy, but we've seen time to times in the past where it seemed like a miscarriage of justice, when there should have been some accountability held, but people got off. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Concerning the loss of black life. Listen, y'all, they're saying, and I quote, Albert is saying, and I quote, we were unable to present any inciting a riot or racially biased charges at this time. And that's according to Albert at the news conference, a sentiment Reed echoed Wednesday morning on CNN, adding that authorities continue to ask for witnesses to share video or audio evidence with investigators. So it looks like they're trying to find evidence in order to bring forth hate crime charges. Okay. Here's also a quote. Reed, who the article says is Montgomery's first black mayor, was quoted as saying, I think it's important for us to understand there was a young white dock worker or someone who worked on the boat who also tried to help and who was attacked as well. Okay. This is what he is trying to now tell, the public. Okay. The police department has spent hours investigating what happened to ensure that they get it right, the chief told CNN. He's also quoted as saying, knowing Montgomery's history, knowing all the civil rights things that we went through here in the city of Montgomery and what that means to the nation, we're very amped up to get this right, he's saying. Okay. As new developments come forth, he continues quoting, He continues in a statement, and I quote, as new developments come forward, we will amend charges as necessary. If it rises to the level of hate crimes, if it rises to the level of inciting a riot, or whatever that looks like, we will do just that, according to Albert. Okay. So again, y'all, what do you think is going to happen in this situation? Why do you think that the co-captain, who, according to the police, are saying he doesn't allege, or he doesn't feel, for whatever reason, it was racially motivated? Does that surprise you? I'll be honest, it's quite alarming, given just based on what we were told in the news. However, I guess only himself and the other white men involved really truly know what was going on, what was said. You know, if there are no witnesses coming forth to provide evidence, whether it's video, written statement, verbal statement, images, I guess what would have to be something spoken, right? If there are no witnesses that come forth, this hate crime, you know, charges, it may not stick. So this is a story I'll be paying attention to. I want to encourage all of you to pay attention to it as well, and just see how things play out. Okay. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you think about this whole story. And as always, thank you all so much for supporting the channel.